What do Miranda Priestly from The Devil Wears Prada, Villanelle from Killing Eve and Bridget Jones's mum Pamela all have in common? Well, according to our next guest, they all display traits of narcissism.
Yeah, but while it can make for great characters on screen, living with a narcissist in real life can be incredibly damaging, especially if that person is your parent or partner.
Psychotherapist Kathleen Saxton, who specialises in narcissistic abuse, has written a new book, My Parent, the Peacock, all about how to spot a narcissist. And she joins us now to explain more.
Morning.
Hi there, good morning.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, could we just define a narcissist? Because I feel like this term is thrown around all over the place, and I feel almost as though the meaning is lost a little bit.
I think that's absolutely true, and it's also the worry. So at the moment, everybody's ex-boyfriend, everybody's mother-in-law appears to be a narcissist, including this can't be true. It's actually a diagnosable personality disorder. It's what we call a cluster B personality type. Okay. It sits alongside borderline, antisocial, histrionic, different personality disorders. So it is diagnosable by a psychiatrist, and many people are diagnosed. All over the world, but there are many that are operating at what we call subclinical levels, because the core of a narcissist is someone who doesn't believe there's anything wrong with them at all. In fact, they think they're wonderful. And so they're very unlikely to sort of take themselves off to see a psychiatrist to get a diagnosis. It is, in fact, those that are operating around them that are the ones that are suffering. So they could be a parent, they could be a boss, they could be a partner. If you're in close proximity to one of these people, you will absolutely know about it. But the difference is we all have a few narcissistic traits. All of us have got a little tiny touch of narcissism within us. Then we have those that have a more pervasive personality, so more likely to be grandiose, talking over you in meetings, making your birthday about them, that kind of stuff. And then you have those that have the disorder, and they're a very different flavour altogether.
So let's talk through some of those traits. And Kathleen, you talked about a couple there, but if somebody's sitting at home saying, OK, so if I'm with a narcissist, what will I notice? What are the things that you'll see?
So one of the very first things, of course, is lack of empathy. There are 9 traits in total. We say if there are 5 on constant display, you're dealing with a narcissist. So complete lack of empathy. So something happens to you or around you, they have no care or interest whatsoever, unless maybe performatively in the moment, that's it. Very exploitative around your relationship with them. So whatever form of relationship you have, they'll be exploiting you to get something that they want or making sure that you're making them look great. Incredibly selfish, so everything will be about them. But it could come in different forms. They could be trying to get attention for themselves, or it could be by covert means. So they're getting lots of sympathy. They might tell you a terrible story about how they've sacrificed themselves as a parent, but actually it's their way of getting attention drawn in some form. So there's lots of other parts to that, lots of arrogance, real issue with criticism. So you'll get either a sort of what we call a narcissistic collapse if you criticise them, or they'll attack you one way or the other. There'll be some sort of rage. So lots of different traits, but they're the 5 that I tend to see the most active when I'm working with one or I'm noticing one. And
you mentioned parents, partners. Can you give us an example of these people and what their traits are?
Well, let's give an easy one on the boss front. If we think about Devil Wears Prada and Miranda, let's say, for example. An absolute classic grandiose. I'm sure we'll talk about types in a second, but she's a grandiose narcissist. So no matter what you do for her, it will never be quite good enough. So you remember she wanted to get the Harry Potter books that weren't even published yet. Setting someone up for almost certain failure. And in fact, Andy managed to get that book, but then she questioned, did you get 2? Because I've got twins, and then the twins are on the train. But if she had not managed to do that, it would have been made absolutely Andy's fault. She would have been taken the blame for something, even though the request was ridiculous. That would be a good boss. I think for malignant narcissists, so those that are very cruel, I think Villanelle, really, you talked about from Killing Eve. Someone who is so suddenly cold. So can do something really painful, very damaging, and then just literally switch out and move on to the next thing. So they never look behind them for collateral damage. They never stop and think about what they're doing. And it's very unnerving to some degree. We talk in psychotherapy about the dark triad. And on the dark triad, we have narcissism, we have psychopathy, and we have Machiavellianism. And they sit on this triad together. So Villanelle would have been on the kind of psychopathy and narcissism.
What does psychopathy mean?
Psychopath tendencies.
Oh, OK.
It's a bit like Alex, who we had on yesterday, who said he now identifies the fact that he has these psychopathic character traits.
That's right.
If there is somebody, Kathleen, sitting at home thinking they really identify some of the traits you've talked about with their partner, their boss, a parent maybe, how do you cope with it? Because, of course, The narcissists themselves will not acknowledge there's anything wrong. So how do you cope if you're in a relationship or there is somebody around you that has that?
So the first thing to understand is really checking, go and find some great sources of information to be sure that you really are dealing with what you're dealing with. And then there's a real level of acceptance and then compassion. You've got to understand what you have been going through has probably really chipped you away. If we think about someone like Bridget Jones's mum in Bridget Jones's Diary, chipping away at Bridget all the time. You're not thin enough, you're not married to the right person, you don't look great. So you'd have been told psychologically a lot of the time, no matter what guys you're with them, that you're not good enough, that the problem is you, and that actually it's you that has to sort yourselves out. So beginning to understand that's not true, and actually what is your true self instead. You've got to reach back into what I call the pilot light of yourself. What were you before this person even came into your life to some degree? And can you reach back to that? But great therapists that are actually trained in narcissism would be very good. There's some great reading, but I worry a bit about narc talk and some of the things on social media because there's lots of puff out there that's not really true. But you can manage, actually, Ben, you can really think about how much time you are spending with that person. Boundaries, managing to control the exposure that you're getting, having someone that you can go to that actually really believes you and understands you is really critical. So a safe person that gets it and can spend some time with you.
And can you fix a narcissist?
So as a therapist and a mother and a human, I hate to say this, but at the moment we have no evidence in any scientific studies we've done that there is a medical or a therapeutic cure for narcissism.
Gosh.
Wow.
So if you have the disorder, nothing is going to change. So it's only those of you around them that can do something to help you cope better.
So you've got to be able to sort yourself out.
Absolutely.
Wow. Kathleen, fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. The book is out now if you want to find
It is out
more.
now, absolutely, and lots of responses. We've had lots of people writing to me asking where to go, and there's lots of places I can send them for guidance and care. So
Amazing.
Anything we can do. I went through it myself many years ago and I recovered, and it's really important for me that people know that they can get better.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank
Lovely
you.
to meet you.
Lovely
hello.
to see you.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.